Yo, welcome to the Striker Match Podcast.
This your girl, Klassi Lady.
It's your boy, Hamp. What's going on out there? What's going on?
Man, and here we are. Next episode, talking about the kids when it comes to securing the bag. Building generational wealth, children edition.
Yeah, so sometimes it feel like the kids don't really secure the bag. They just take all the money out of the bag.
Hey,
you know, with their games and they fees for jerseys and teams and camps and stuff.
Yeah. But you know what? On the flip side of that, though, we're giving a lot of experience to the kids on how to build teamwork, how to work with others, how to build character.
I'm just teasing.
So it's those life skills, those principles that they're learning on the day to day that they can kind of contribute to a family business at the same time, right?
Yeah.
They can network amongst their friends. They can build a following on their social media pages. They can they can work tirelessly the same way that we do. Like, hey, I need you to ship out these next 30 books. You know, put them in the boxes, put the labels on there. Make sure you paying attention to the information.
Put them kids to work. Put on the work. And before we even get started, like I just want to do a quick shout out to like all of the parents out there with kids that you are getting started in entrepreneurship early.
Yeah.
That you are teaching financial literacy early.
Yeah.
That you are encouraging their gifts and talents early. Because a lot of times it's easy to it's real easy for us to sometimes just really talk about like what needs to happen.
Right.
And there's a lot that needs to happen. Don't get me wrong. But sometimes we can get so caught up in talking about what needs to happen, what we're trying to do different, that we forget to like celebrate and give some praise to the people that's doing it the right way. So big up to all the families and the parents that's like doing it right with their kids, getting them started in entrepreneurship early, managing their talents and gifts early, and teaching them financial literacy early, investing, all that good stuff early, so they like don't have to deal with some of the same, hardships and stuff financially that we had to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely a big shout out to those parents that are breaking the cycle. That is getting out of this this box that we were placed in. True enough, there were a lot of things that we were taught when we were younger about going to school, getting an education, going to college,
getting your degree,
going into specific fields or whatever to make money. And of course, for some it worked, and for others it may not have been the best opportunity.
Right.
So it's good that we're breaking a cycle and we're introducing our kids to something new. We're introducing them to not only could you hold down a 9-to-5 and work the next 40 years and become the exec or VP of that company, but you can also do the same within your own family.
Right.
So definitely big shout out to those.
And when you got new information, you do something better. Our parents was telling us the best thing that they thought was best for us, given what was successful for their generation.
Exactly.
As time moves forward, you update and progress too and move forward with it. And we see like, oh, there might be some other stuff out there. So yeah. So just a quick little recap, first episode of this Black Family series we was talking about like just the overall family policy, family procedure, and family progression and all that good stuff. Second episode, we was talking about how brotherhood is currency. And how that brotherhood and those bonds we build is really like wealth building too. Third episode, we talked about the WAP, the wealth applying principles for the sisterhood, and the different things that you might need to continue doing right, or the things you might need to check and try to correct to make sure that you the black girl magic that's already out there, you just continuing to be excellent in it anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And now today's episode, we want to talk about the kids. We want to talk about the children because they play an important role too in this whole family dynamic that we'll be talking about. So
exactly,
that's what we're touching on today.
Yeah, talking about the little ones, how they contribute to this wealth, how they can build good character, good principle skills that we as parents can make sure that we kind of teaching and molding and shaping our kids into, and just using those everyday experiences to make it a life lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
More importantly, we want to make sure that our kids are given the best opportunities, the best chances, but that they can actually maintain and sustain whatever it is we handing off to them.
Yeah, because a lot of times we'll teach the part how to get it, but we don't necessarily show them how to maintain and sustain it.
Right.
And so that's what really all of this whole series is really about anyway. Because a lot of people know the way to get into the wealth and into the game about different stuff. But what do we always see, right? Like, damn, you had all this money, you had all that, then it just went away. Like, what happened?
And so it's like a bad habit.
Yeah, it's the sustainment piece that we be missing. Yeah. So what you want to start off with, Klassi?
Let's start with the role of children in the family. Like what roles do the kids play when it comes to this family dynamic thing?
The role that kids play with the family dynamic. Yeah. I mean, they're a big part of it. They're a big part of it, but they play a supporting role. You know what I'm saying? Kids, one thing that I've learned, if I haven't learned anything else about kids are looking for like that guidance in their organization or whatever, even if they don't acting like they looking like for it.
Yeah.
And so it's on us as the parents to like give them that guidance and organization. Mm-hmm. And when I think about that, another thing that kids are really looking to do, they want to prove to you that they can help.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like your kids are eager to prove to you when they see you with your little, the family business going, your little side hustle, whatever it may be, they're eager to prove to you that they can help. And they also they want to see you win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they are your biggest fans and your biggest supporters. Like they might throw some jokes in there every now and then. And, they gonna give you a hard time about stuff.
Right.
Yeah. I see y'all little podcasts out there with 8 views or something, you know what I mean? But they want to see you win for real. And so you need to tap into that or harness that and like make them feel included. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think they definitely play a supporting role, and they also play the role that we as parents may not necessarily always see or even contribute when it comes to our kids, and we can learn something from them too. Just as much as we are the adults, we are the guardians, and we're teaching them something. They also play a position that allows us to take a back seat and to kind of see how they do things differently. What this new generation is paying attention to. How do you engage them in conversation, and how do you move the pendulum forward in what they consider to be, the dopest thing as of today. Of course, for some of us, it's like everything that's 80s and 90s.
Old school everything.
Old school everything. And so now it's like seeing how kids do things today, which is completely different than how it was when we were growing up. It's kind of like, oh, okay, so this is about like social media. This is about quick, fast. Y'all want stuff at your fingertips, and not saying that that's always a good thing, but there is something to learn from it.
It's a part of the playbook.
Yeah, it's
a part of the arsenal. You know what I'm saying? And our kids definitely, that innovation, that digital marketing.
Yeah.
With the social media and stuff like that, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or whatever they be on. Yeah. Most of the time, that digital marketing and advertising has almost like replaced, things that you might have hit up the local radio station,
right,
or
newspaper,
something like that,
media,
a newspaper, magazine. That stuff is like you that's like ancient history or something. They be like, what? Y'all would do what? The newspaper, the magazine, the radio, but that used to be where you would be trying to get something on. Now it's like, shoot, you
right. They like, no, post an ad on your Instagram.
Yeah, post a TikTok, post a dance on TikTok about what something you promote. Like, so yeah, you definitely want to like, as much as sometimes you might, of course, you always want to make sure as a parent you monitoring those things and managing it too from a responsible perspective, but you definitely want to make sure that you tapping into that resource that they can show you how to use that stuff for business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And another thing I say that us as parents need to kind of consider when it comes to our kids is kind of having that whole customer service mind frame. Like, your kids are your first customers, them your first clients. So whatever it is that you're working on, whatever you're grinding on, you can kind of put it to the test with using them as the focus group. You know?
Yeah, that's true.
Let's get some real feedback.
That's true, because your kids ain't gonna lie to you.
They ain't gonna lie.
Your kids is not gonna lie. If it's whack, they gonna tell you it's whack.
Yeah.
And if it's right, they gonna tell you it's right. So that is crucial. Like, you have your first focus group right there. You have your first customers right there in your kids. Mm-hmm. And so don't look at them just like, oh, this little knucklehead don't know nothing. Right. They don't know nothing. Like, no, like, they do know. You know. And so like I said, especially when we're talking about a lot of things, what I feel like we do, and whatever business that you in, everybody has a certain market and audience that they targeting and catering to, and that should be your primary market. But guess what? If you want your business to last and be scalable and sustainable and progress, you better be doing something that's speaking to your kids' generation age. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You know what I mean? You better be offering some product or service and some type of advertising that's speaking to them too. Yeah. As your, let's say if that's not your primary market, that's your secondary market or audience, you want to make sure you're doing something that's speaking to them too, targeting them too. And who better else to tell you whether or not than your kids?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They will put you on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and another reason that I say we can kind of consider them as our like first focus group or whatever is because you can also kind of think of it from the standpoint of dealing with employees, dealing with different personalities. We know our kids have different personalities. Everybody is not going to act the same. You know what I'm saying? So now you know how to tap into different strengths and weaknesses of a particular child the same way you would with an employee that you're working with. Like, okay, I see you good in this area, but you kind of slipping over here. Yeah. And that gives you that experience to be like, you know what? I've been dealing with my assistant. She's still not getting it, but she remind me kind of like my daughter. I done had to she rough around the edges. I done had to deal with her on some things. Now I know how to talk to those type of people. You know, you got to be able to communicate with different people and different personalities. Yeah,
yeah. And I mean, and not only is that helping with your business, but it's also teaching your kids a skill and a career skill too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Dealing with the different personalities, communicating, all of that stuff. Like, and so you definitely want to make sure that you are managing the things that your kids bring to the table. Yeah. And utilizing that for your benefit and not just kind of looking off to the side like, they can't tell me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because they deal with different personalities all day on TikTok and Snapchat and Instagram and social media and in the classroom and on the sports team and whatever else they doing with. So yeah.
So with that being said, what do you think is like, how do we build healthy sibling rivalry, like healthy competition amongst your children?
Well, I definitely think the competition is something that should be encouraged. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And the competition is going to be there. Like, that's just going to naturally be there with the competition. I just think it's on the parents to just, like, manage the competition. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. Okay. Like, you want, because guess what? Especially when we're talking, like, whether it's a business situation, at work, just trying to get a job, or what we really focusing on is entrepreneurship. As entrepreneurs, when they get out there, they're going to have competition. Yeah. They're not going to be the only person out there with a clothing line. They're not going to be the only bake shop out there. They're not going to be the only person out there doing whatever business is that they're doing. So you want to embrace that competition early on, and let them see that competition is cool as long as it's in a healthy platform. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. And so what I mean by that is, like, encourage the competition, but don't be on stuff where, like, as parents, you picking favorites. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, don't pick favorites, because I feel like a lot of times that unhealthy sibling rivalry like comes from a place of disproportionate parent praise. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm praising this one kid more than the other. Mm-hmm. I'm showing up to this one kid event more than the other. Yeah. And now you got some, dysfunctional sibling rivalry competition going on. You don't want that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But you definitely want to encourage competition and have them bring that into the family dynamic if you got a family business going or something.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Definitely encouraging that healthy competition, but also identifying the things that make you different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, especially when you have siblings, like say for instance, 2 girls or 2 boys. One thing that we should always pay attention to with our children is to make sure that we understand, like, you are good at this, you are good at that. It's not that I'm comparing the two, but I'm gonna identify, you know, the area that you kind of thrive in, and we're gonna celebrate that the same way we will with your sister or your brother. So that way it doesn't look as if you're trying to compete in the same field.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, you may have a business, and of course you may not be the only one running that particular business, but what sets you apart?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Apart?
That's what your customers are going to be looking for. What is it that makes you different? I just Googled bakery shop. 6 of them came up.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the one that is set apart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
What's so special about your bakery shop? Yeah. That's going to make me come to your bakery shop.
Yeah. And that's
because there's a whole bunch of shops that I just Googled that just came up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want that to be said for us as parents. We kind of consider that same relationship with our kids. Like, what sets you apart? What makes you great? Because the more that kid is able to tap into that superpower, then it'll lessen the need to be competitive all the time. It lessens the need to be jealous or envious of a sibling who may be good at something, when it's like, no,
because they in their own lane.
I'm doing me.
Yeah, they in their own lane. They know what they doing. Nobody else can do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And that's like, not to get too off of that, but I feel like that's a good segue into another thing I feel like I was thinking about when we was getting on this topic, and that's just like you say, I'm Googling 8 bakery shops. I'm Googling bakery shops. 8 of them came up.
Yeah.
What's so good about yours that should make me come to yours or whatever? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And in order to before you even get to that place, you got to make sure that your kids is in a position to where like they can accept constructive criticism. Yeah. That they can accept potential rejection or not being selected or whatever. Because if they don't, and if it's just like they always just expecting to be that number one, they're never gonna be looking to ways to improve.
Exactly.
And ways to stand out and be set apart and be that one that people select. They're just gonna be like, well, it's a bakery shop. I opened it up. I'm doing the best. I mean, what do you mean? It's me. Right. But it's like, no, like there are other people that got bakery shops, but I feel like what happens a lot of time, but sometimes we might end up like kind of pandering to our kids sometime or whatever, and just encourage. And it's like, that's good. You want to encourage and motivate, but you also want to like, all right, I see you doing this good, but your customer service is a little off. I see you doing this good, but in the example of the bakery, this cake was a little dry. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to offer that up in a way so they can have a service or a product that's so excellent, it is set apart and it speaks for itself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, that's good. And one suggestion I can throw out there, I know I do this, is the 2 for 1.
2 for 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
So when it comes to constructive criticism with your kids, kids don't necessarily take information in or take criticism the way that we do, because they haven't built up that built that heart for it yet. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which is cool. You want them to eventually get to that level. So what I do is a 2 for 1. I'm gonna give you 2 compliments and 1 constructive criticism.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because I want you to know that I'm identifying the things that you're good at. You know what I'm saying? You're thriving in this particular area, but we can work on this.
Yeah, I like that. And that kind of like softens the blow, if you will, when I hit you with the thing that might be like, oh man, you know, that one thing I might come at you with might be the thing that they thought was the best thing or something.
Right.
And I'm like, but you can't say that I'm just being too hard on you or too just critical. I'm only telling you what is gonna be best for you in the long run. But like I said, the 2 for 1, I like that.
Yeah. And what
y'all
it also
need to write that down.
The 2 for 1. But what it also does is, if your kid know that there's something that they don't do well, and it's a negative area that you point out to them, they may focus more attention on that and not even realize and see the things that they're good at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, if it's something that a kid is like, man, I thought this is what I was doing well. But it's like, nah, you're kind of slacking right there. You messed up. But you know what I'm saying? You've been doing well in school, or you've been doing this good, or I see you working on the lemonade stand, or I see you doing it. So it's kind of like I'm still addressing other areas in your life where you may be good at. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that can still build your confidence enough to be like, if I can do good at this, then I know I can handle the stuff that she's telling me about now. I know I can take that constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I know she care about me. She paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm working on.
Yeah, and that's gonna go a long way too when they see that you paying attention to what they're doing.
Exactly.
And that makes me think about something else that I was thinking about too. When you talk about like the constructive criticism part, and not necessarily saying something that just like completely take their dreams or hopes down.
Yeah.
Also, don't be so quick to think that might not be what your kid needs.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's different.
Yeah, that's true.
I know some people. You know some people growing up where it's like it always had to be like, Jimmy, you did good. You know what I'm saying?
Always patting them on the back.
And Jimmy gonna go out there and do his thing, right?
Uh-huh.
But then you notice there was some people that you had to be like, they might have went out there. I'll use football for example. Tommy might have went out there and got 100 yards, right? Something. And Tommy needs somebody to come out there and tell him, he was all right. Right. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is like, don't be so quick to assume you know your kids better than anyone. Don't be so quick to assume that your kids might not need that tough love encouragement, because that patting on the back thing might be the worst thing for your kid.
Yeah, that may be what's holding them back.
It's all different. It might be what's holding them back.
Yeah,
the tough love in a loving way, but in a stern way, might be the thing that actually is the main motive. I know some people like that. Like they'll just be like, I've seen people like that even growing up and just now, where it's like, you might look at them and think that what just got said to them is something that just would derail them and take them down. Yeah. But that'd be the main thing. That tough love, that stern voice is what just like, man, like they took off after that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
They took off after that. So just knowing what motivational tactics work for that kid. You know what I'm saying? And it made me think about something else where like a lot of times we get so caught up in trying to give our kids what we never had, we forget to give them what they need. You know what I'm saying? Like
repeat that.
We get so caught up in just trying to give our kids what we never had.
Yep.
We forget to just give them what they need. You know what I'm saying? Like give your kids what they need, what they individually that child needs.
Yep.
Don't get caught up in the all like, oh man, I just want to make sure you have this, have that. And then they never know what it is to sacrifice, what it is to struggle, what it is to be resilient and have some grit and go through hard times. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And push through and persevere. That can be something that we do as parents where we think we're doing the right thing. And you are doing the right thing by trying to, give them all of the benefits and, things that they can have to have a head start. Right. But you don't want to have it be inordinate or just too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's one thing to give your kids the essentials, the stuff that you know that they're going to need. You know what I'm saying? But some of us were in situations where you kind of had to learn life principles by grinding, by hustling, by getting it the best way you knew how. You know what I'm saying? And what it did for us is it took us to another level on what we can deal with, what we can handle. When we faced with adversity, we know how to deal with situations differently. We know what tough times look like. Right. But when you end up having kids and you kind of got yourself in this position where they never had to experience that, they have this sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
Like somebody owed them something.
Yep.
The first time you tell them no, they done forgot every time before that where you ever said yes.
Yep. You hit the nail on the head, Klassi. For real.
That's something that's very important. So as parents, what we have to always remember is you can still teach your kids those life principles without necessarily have to go back to that way of living. There are things that you can initiate and do in your day-to-day life that reminds your kids to respect the hard work that you've put in.
Yeah.
There's ways that you can do things to make sure your kids understand the value of $1.
Yeah. Especially understanding that value of the dollar. That's very important.
Absolutely. And there's also things that you can teach your kids to help them maintain integrity and good character to get what it is that you got. Like this don't come easy. You know what I'm saying? I spend a lot of hours in the game.
Yeah, I spend a lot of hours building up this reputation.
Yeah.
Building up my business.
Yeah.
Building up this brand.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean? So when people see my brand, when people see my business, they already know.
Yeah.
And so I don't need you to come in with something that's not a part of that and then ruin that, because you could potentially, that could be a death blow to the business.
Yeah.
You know, so like I said, teaching that integrity and teaching those principles and business principles is very important.
Yeah.
You know.
And since we're going discussing that, I think one thing that we need to address is when it comes to our kids, we need to also teach them healthy conflict. So when you think about all of the things that you've had to do to get where you are and to get your kids in a better position, let's be real. Sometimes them knuckleheads, they want to throw it back in your face. They want to remind you of your past. They want to remind you where you just came from. Or they want to make a whole lot of mistakes and then try to justify, be like, you did this or you ain't did no better.
Yeah.
You know, and you find yourself arguing with this minor, stooping down to their level to explain to them.
Yeah.
And
why
it's
something is the way it was.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. I'm not going to argue with you. We on the same team.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to compete against you or win this fight.
Yeah.
I'm your parent.
Yeah. And that teaching that conflict resolution and teaching how to deal with that, you know, is very important when you're talking about like family business, their own business, their life business. You know what I'm saying?
Just in life,
because getting into those fights that let's be honest, when some of those fights and conflicts come up, it's not even it's nothing substantive about it.
No.
There's nothing that's gonna come out of the end of it besides you won or I won.
Right.
And now I feel better or you feel better. It's not about moving the needle forward for the business, for the bottom line, for the family policy, for the family program. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, or the problem at hand.
Or the problem at hand. It's just about it's an emotional thing. I want to win the fight.
Yep.
You know, I want to prove myself. You know, and because I don't have the good conflict resolution skills and understand where there's a difference between like right and wrong or different points of views or perspectives or whatever the case may be. Yeah. You don't let something go to where it don't need to go, especially with your kids. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know.
Voices getting loud. Nobody is being heard.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes it's good to like, you have to understand when you got to step away from a situation and not go so hard and be enraged that you're trying to prove a point to your kids. Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, whatever you said, that's just what it is.
Yeah.
So your kids gonna have to come to a resolve to either deal with it and accept it, and then you also be in a space where you can kind of explain why things are the way that they is, or why the mistake that they just made. Oh, we're not doing this in here. Let me tell you the consequences. Let me tell you what could have happened.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what the situation could have turned out to be had I not cared for you, or, you know, you being my child and I want the best for you.
Yeah.
So we got to be able to make sure that we stay on topic and stay on course about whatever conflict it is that we're handling, because then what it teaches your child is that, okay, now when I walk into a situation and I'm having a disagreement with somebody, I don't necessarily have to argue and fight and go back and forth with this person. I can explain my point of view. I can address what needs to be talked about, and I can move on.
And man, and that is such a healthy life skill that our kids need to see. Your kids need to see you handling conflict, handling a disagreement in a way that is not you just like, I'm yelling, I'm cursing, I'm name calling, I'm getting disrespectful. No, I'm just handling this like a man. I'm handling this like a lady, and I'm not going back and forth with you. Hey, if it's something legal, hey, my lawyer will contact you in 24 hours. I'm walking out the door.
Yep.
You know, stuff like that. Like, it ain't, because honestly, be real, when it comes to stuff like that, that's what people, especially in the business field, they respect that stuff more than all of the yelling and the screaming and the MF for this, MF for that.
Right.
You know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Nah, hit them with that sophisticated talk.
Exactly.
Hit them with like you got some common sense. And when your kids see that, you just put them up on some game.
Yep.
You just put them up on some strong game. I promise you. Because a lot of people don't realize a lot of times, and that's just not with business. That be with stuff like
with
it
family,
could be with school, with family.
Yeah.
Hit them with that legal talk. So my lawyer don't worry about it. My lawyer will reach out to you in 24 hours.
Right.
Have a nice day.
Yeah.
And leave it at that. See the response that you get.
Yep.
And your kids be like, Mama, why you ain't buck up on here? Daddy, why you ain't do this? Don't worry about it. Just watch.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
You're going to get a totally different response.
You're going to get a totally different
response. And the reason that I like to make sure we address stuff like that too is because we see what's happening in the world today.
Yeah.
And a lot of young adults, young teenagers are getting themselves caught up in madness and situations that's costing them their life.
Yeah.
And it is like teaching them these poor dysfunctional habits that now it's hard to kind of then go back and retrain.
Yeah.
You gotta unlearn this dysfunction when it's like, no, I can teach you this up front and hope that you get it and understand it. So when you out there in public, you ain't making a fool of yourself.
Yeah.
Or you're not putting yourself in harm's way or causing something to happen to either you or the people that you love.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't know how to handle a situation. You don't know how to walk away from something. You don't know how to have a disagreement with somebody and be like, I'm not finna argue with you and curse you out and get the hooping and hollering and yelling and making a fool out of myself for somebody to post on the gram.
Yeah, you don't know how to manage your anger. You don't know how to manage your temper. You don't know that it don't make you weak for walking away from something.
Right.
It living to fight another day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you say, having me looking all crazy on social media and now my business done suffered from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like those are things that we definitely got, especially in today's day and age, man. Like we know all the stuff that's going on out here in the world. And you would hate for some silly argument or conflict, disagreement at a business or whatever with family to turn into 911. We have an emergency.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It ain't worth it.
Exactly. Definitely not worth it.
It ain't worth it.
Definitely not worth it. So with that being said, like how do you teach your kids responsibility? How do you hold them accountable?
How do you hold your kids accountable?
Yeah, for things that either you've told them to do or you know that they are responsible for doing. How do we teach?
I'm the type of person, I believe the only way that you can hold people accountable is it has to be consequences and rewards, right?
Yeah.
When you do what you're supposed to do, you get a reward. You know, you get let's say we have for the podcast. And we tell our son like, yo, we want you to like for the next week do this on TikTok, do this on Instagram, do this on Facebook, and we're gonna pay you whatever, $50 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
If you do what you're supposed to do, then after 2 weeks you getting paid.
Right.
If not, the consequence is you don't get paid.
Right.
And that's just one example. But I mean, I feel like the only way you can hold, we punish our kids with stuff or whatever. Mm-hmm. But if you're talking about especially if you're talking about like incorporating and including your kids in a family business type situation, I feel like you should pay them for services rendered.
Okay.
So if your kids are doing something, whether that's social media marketing or whatever it is they're doing,
right,
pay them for services rendered. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's your holding them accountable part right there.
Yeah.
Because there's a consequence. Because guess what? If I don't go to work and show up and do what I'm supposed to do, I'm not getting paid. Mm-hmm. Same thing with them. It's like a contract, a statement of work.
Right.
Son, here's your statement of work. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what I'm expecting. Mm-hmm. And when you get it done, here's your payment. Here's your compensation.
Right.
When you do it, you get compensated this amount right here. If you don't do it, then you don't get compensated. Yeah. It has to be some type of consequence reward system.
Yeah.
That's what I think. What do you think about that? Or what do you think of some other ways besides that to hold kids accountable?
Other ways besides that, I honestly think sometimes teaching accountability means you got to let something fall through the cracks.
Okay.
So when I say that, there are things that we tell our child to do, we tell our kids to do, and we holding them accountable to do those things. And if it's not done, we shouldn't go on the back end and try to get it done.
Yeah.
You just let it go undone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that teaches them.
So they can see how they dropping the ball and not doing
affected everybody.
Affected everybody. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah. And when something goes undone because you didn't do it, that hit a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You the one that let us down. You the one that let the family down. You the one that forgot to take care of business. Yeah. So now that it's undone, you gonna be the one to fix it.
Yeah.
And it's just that simple. Otherwise, it's gonna lay there until you get it. That's your problem. You fix it.
Ooh, that's gonna take some sacrifice.
It does.
That's gonna take some sacrifice on everybody's part. You know what I mean?
And I know for mothers that is really hard, because we the type, like, if I ask you to do something and it ain't get done, you know what? If it's not done the way up to my
your standards, yeah, you just gonna go ahead and do it.
Now here I am going to do it, and it's like, no, you need to be able to sacrifice, and you let that child know that this was your responsibility. You take care of that. Otherwise, there you have it.
Yeah, no, that's one of them heart lessons right there. They hit the heart. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That tests whether or not your kid is into it. Yeah. You know, or whether they just talking. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you have any skin in the game in this? Right. Do you have any? Are you a stakeholder or not? Mm-hmm. What does do you care about the success or failure of what we doing or not? Yep. And based off your reaction, I'm a C. But like you said, that is a good teacher. And like I said, even in life, they're going to be faced with situations like that in life, where it's like, you dropped the ball, you messed up, you didn't come through and was reliable and dependent on what you say you was going to do. Yeah. Now, either you fix it or it just falls through. Yeah. And so you need to see what that looks like when you don't follow through. Exactly. I like that. That's a good one. Exactly. That's a real good one. And the reason that I say that is I can remember, like, in corporate America, when you would get them emails and sometimes some of the writing in red, because it's like, you ain't come through. Yeah. Some fell through. Yeah. So you don't want to see that red writing. So that red writing tells me, like, this is my problem. I need to be the one to fix it. It's just that simple. Yeah. They not forwarding this to nobody else for them to take care of and clean your mess. It's for you to do it. So we have to be the same way with our kids. Yeah. I hope y'all caught that. That's a real good one right there. That's a real good one. Write that one down. Let it fall through. Let them see how it feel. Yeah. And that, you know what, that made me think about a proverb. What? And it's a proverb that say, like, if you constantly always rescuing a man every time they mess up, you know, you're gonna have to keep doing it forever, and, you know, to infinity, perpetually. Because if you don't just let them fall and let them feel it, you're gonna always be having to catch them and pull them up, catch them and pull them up, catch them and pull them up. Yeah. You know, so. Yeah. I think what that kind of speaks to is building the muscle for something. You know how, like, going to the gym or working with a personal trainer, and they tell you, like, oh, what you trying to get, what you trying to attain. Yeah, what you trying to build up. What you trying to build up. And it's like, oh, I want muscle in this particular area. What they gonna do? They gonna work you in that same area. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They gonna put a little more weight on it. They gonna have you going a little bit longer till you build the strength and the muscle to be able to do something over and over and over again. And it's the same thing with our kids. We trying to build a muscle, a habitual habit to do something. Yeah. And be disciplined in a particular area to where now I ain't gonna forget. I ain't gonna mess up. Yeah. I ain't gonna drop the ball. They got that muscle memory. Like, I gotta take care of this. I gotta do this. Mm-hmm. And now I can be held accountable if it don't get done. Because you know what? It wasn't nobody's fault but my own. But yep. Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah. I like that. That. So another thing I want to address that we can drop some gems on when it comes to our kids is, how do you know what it is that you're teaching your kids is actually working? Like, what is it that we see in our kids that lets us know, like, okay, they actually getting it. They maturing. They growing. They trying. How do we know what we teaching our kids is actually working? I mean, honestly, the first thing that come to my mind is just when you see different results. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. When you see different results from what they might have been doing, let's say what month we in? January. We in, well, no, I'm my bad, April. I was about to. What happened, y'all? No, what I was about to say was. What I was about to say was, if I go back to something I showed you in January.
Okay.
And now it's April.
Okay.
If how I showed it to you in January, you still handling it the same way in April, and it was something I needed to see improvement on being done, then either you're not understanding what I showed you, or you're just not improving.
Okay. So you mean in the sense of like setting markers?
Yeah, setting markers, giving goals. You that's what companies do. That's what corporations do.
Yeah.
Corporations look at trends in quarters and months.
Yeah.
And look at data and metrics to tell whether or not we're doing better than we did last quarter than we are this quarter.
Right.
Last month and this month. So if I can point out to some things, which boom, there you go right there. Give your kids something, whether that's a task or assignment that you're giving them to do.
Yeah.
Make sure that it's something measurable.
Okay.
That you can measure and record. Because if not, you just then at that point your kids, they could come to you and be like, "Mom, Dad, you being subjective right now, and what you saying ain't really objective because what you telling me, you saying I'm not improving, but how are you measuring that?"
Right. What does that look like?
What does that look like? Yeah. So you have to set expectations, I guess is what I'm saying. You have to set an expectation of the standard that you want to see.
Right.
Because if not, you setting them up for failure and you just about to be going around in circles.
Okay. So for instance, if your kids again like a C in school, and you set the marks to be like, okay, by the time progress reports hit, I want to see a C plus. By the time your report card comes in and your new grades is up, I want to see B's.
Yeah.
Set markers and be like, okay, you got 6 weeks to do this and 6 weeks to do that. So those expectations could be met, and it's measurable for the kid because now they know what I have to do to actually get there.
Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And that way they, like you say, they know exactly what they have to do to get there.
Yeah.
And when, once again, going back to the consequence model, when they get there, there's a reward. There's praise that comes with that. When they don't get there, there's a consequence, and they understand why there's a consequence because you gave them a clear finish line. You gave them a clear metric. You gave them something clear to go to. I had a C. They told me I need to get up to a C plus in 3 months. It's been 3 months. I didn't get up to a C plus. I got a C. They disappointed with me. Can't be mad with that.
Can't be mad.
They can't be mad with that. All right, so I'm taking the PS4. I'm taking this. No hanging out on the weekend, whatever the case may be. Can't get mad at it. I told you this was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So don't look at me crazy when I do it.
No, that's real. That's real. That's good. That's good.
That's fair to me. Like
that, it's fair. It's fair. Fathers, I hope you listening out there because that's a good one right there. Hey. Especially with men, you guys are straight to the point, no chasers. So as long as you set the clear expectations and guidelines on what you expect the kid to do, either they gonna improve or they gonna let you down.
Yeah. Either you gonna improve and step up to the plate, or you gonna let because like I say, what it is, which you teaching a lesson right there. Because guess what? Whether they get into corporate or get into the business world and are working for somebody else, or they being an entrepreneur and doing it themselves. As an entrepreneur, they're going to have to be that way with their workers. Yep. As a worker, they're going to have to be that way with their supervisor because they're going to hold them to those same type of standards and things or whatever. Exactly. So you're teaching them this is how it goes. Exactly. You either going to be the boss that's doing this with your workers one day, or a boss going to be doing this with you one day. Yep. Ain't going to be all this, I felt this way, or I feel like it do look good, or I feel like the teacher this, I feel. Nope. We ain't talking about how you feel, bro. Right. We ain't talking about how you feel, sis. Right. Love you to death. But I'm talking about these numbers I see in front of me right now. Yep. That's all I'm talking about. It ain't nothing personal. It's just business.
Yeah. I ain't here for your feelings. I'm just grading productivity.
Because when they become an entrepreneur, they ain't going to be there for nobody's feelings.
Real talk.
At their business.
Real talk.
But if they working for somebody, they boss or supervisor ain't going to hear nothing about your feelings.
Exactly.
So...
No, that's real.
That's true. That's what I feel like it is, man.
And just the fact that you mentioned that, I think something that we as parents can kind of do to get comfortable in that position is setting those kind of goals for our kids now, and then just stepping back a little bit to actually see them play out. So that way you're not waiting until your kid 18, going off to college or whatever the case may be, leaving the house for the first time as a quote unquote adult, and then they're proving to you how responsible they are, how accountable they can be, what they've learned from those principles that you've taught them over the years.
Right.
You know, it's kind of good to make sure that we check in periodically doing things like that with our kids, just on a regular basis. You set a goal for your kid, you allow them to perform, and you see what happens from there. And then you just kind of step back a little bit and be like, okay, I see you. I see you. You improving, you trying, you making strides.
I see you making progress. I'm monitoring your progress. I see you going up.
Yeah.
I see you projecting up. You know, you trending up right now. I see you.
Yeah.
You putting in the work. You listening. That's how I can tell whether or not you listening or not. I can tell. I can see. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Exactly.
You reading a little more. You doing this a little more. And this we talk, and this is for when your kids get 18, 19, 22.
Absolutely.
You know like,
yeah.
You know how well, we thought we knew everything at 23, 24.
Right.
We didn't.
Still didn't.
We didn't know everything. So guess what? Your 18-year-old, your 19-year-old, your 20-year-old, your 21-year-old.
Gonna still need that.
Gonna still need this stuff we talking about. I promise you.
Absolutely.
Promise you. They gonna act like they don't, but they need it.
Yeah, the ones who think they know it all, them the ones that's gonna need it the most.
Yeah,
where you can like take your hand off of it for a minute and be like, you know what? Now that I explained the situation, now that I told you what to do and how to respond, let me see what you do. So as you step back a little bit, you can trust and believe that that the child been picking up, what you've been dropping.
Right.
And you don't have to be like a parent that's overbearing or feel like you're afraid for your kid to go out into the world because they may mess up in some particular area or they may not have learned what it is you've been teaching all this time, when you can be like, no, I seen how they responded.
Right.
I seen he was able to handle that. Right. So we good.
And I got confidence that they know what they're doing and they can handle this.
Yeah. And so the mistakes that they do make, it's kind of like, okay, that's an area that I kind of seen you falling short in. It's okay. Everybody make mistakes, a little setback. But because you have watched me over the years maintain and sustain my integrity and my good character over things, and you seen how we address situations in the midst of adversity, I know that you'll bounce back. I know that you can handle this and you'll be good.
All right. You gonna get through this. You got the critical thinking and the problem solving skills, and the determination, the grit, the emotional intelligence, everything you need, and the faith, to get up out of this. So that's what you're doing right there.
Yep. So you got anything else for the kids, for the little ones?
I don't got nothing else. For the kids. Last thing I will say though is this. One last little gem, and then we can wrap it up. And that's just like, how a lot of times how it can be like the different setbacks and disappointments that we face as adults. Yeah. When we trying to get stuff going and we trying to start businesses or whatever the case may be. Yeah. And we can kind of let that like limit us and discourage us from like doing more. Make sure you don't put that on your kids. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, make sure you don't transfer that spirit to your kids, because your kids have a fearless courage about them because they don't have all of that to think about. You know what I'm saying? They don't have all of the disappointments and setbacks. They might have some disappointments and setbacks and some stuff that, on the video game, on the court, or with some little boy they was in love with or something like that. Right. Some little girl, something like that. But they don't have the disappointments of putting all their savings into a business and watching it flop. Right. They don't have the disappointment setbacks of like working with a business partner, trusting this business partner, and the business partner took all your money. Right. You know what I'm saying? They have a fearlessness and a courage about them that you had when you first started off. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That you need to appreciate, recognize, tap into, and make sure that you don't transfer that spirit of doubt or disbelief onto them. Yeah. And if anything, do it and do that for yourself too. Get out of that funk. If you are somebody that's in that funk from some disappointment, shake it off. Shake back, baby. Shake back. And realize it's never too late. But you just want to make sure, that's the last thing I would just say. Make sure you tap into that fearless courage and imagination and optimism that your kids have. And that you don't transfer that disbelief, that doubt from all of the disappointments and setbacks and failures that, it can happen. It's happened to me. It's happened to people I know. It's easy to fall into that, but you got to shake back and shake it off, man. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. You don't want to start load dumping all of your worries and burdens and fears on your kids to a point where it's kind of like you trying to teach them what you've gone through, but at the same time, what happens is they start losing the belief that they can do it because now you telling them about all the times that you fail, all the times
it was so hard. It was this.
Yeah. Don't go into that load dumping. Now, it's one thing to teach them to be strategic about the partners that they work with, making sure that they understand how to budget, save, and manage money, making sure they understand the fundamentals of investing. So you're teaching the lesson of what you learn from those mistakes, not necessarily throwing the mistakes themselves on the kid that prevent them from now progressing and moving forward and believing in themselves enough to step out on faith and try it too.
All right. Absolutely. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is so true. You want to teach them the the right way to move and strategy and all that stuff, but you don't want to load dump on them and be like, oh man, don't do this, do that, you know, and then you just discourage them from doing something.
Right. So, absolutely. And my last comment will be, make sure that your kids understand the concept of no. No is a word that does not need an explanation. No is an answer in and of itself.
Yeah.
Some things are just no. Not yet. Not give me a minute, let me think about it. No, because it's just a simple no.
No. N-O.
N-O. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Some things will be no. And you know, teaching your kids that is very, very wise and it's very good because you don't want them to have this sense of urgency of waiting on whether or not you're going to change that no, if you're going to give an explanation of why you're saying no, because then that tells them that, okay, well, if this the reason, then maybe you could do it because I said this, or maybe it can be because of something else. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
It's just no. It's no, and that's it. And it also teaches them, if they get into entrepreneurship and run a business themselves, that this is how you handle sometimes you have to tell your employees no.
Yeah, no.
Or at school, when you hear no, it's, it's just no. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, that is so true, man. Because you want to see some people. Y'all know you want to see the worst come out of some people. Tell them no.
Tell them no, and don't tell them why.
And don't tell them why. Just say no.
Yeah, you're gonna have customers where you simply have to say no, and you don't have to go into detail about anything else. And for your kids, you want it to be the same way as they grow into whatever area or field that they go into. Sometimes they're gonna have to encounter a person and just be like no.
Yeah.
So just understanding the power of that word in and of itself, and that's it for me.
Yeah, that's the best way to end it right there. That's a gem. Just say no.
Dang.
Just say no.
That part. This your girl, Classy Lady.
It's your boy Hamp.
Love you guys. Peace.
We out, y'all.